fraud can occur across all channels. So having an effective strategy requires you to have a balanced approach. Hi, this is Jas Anand, and welcome to the Feedzai Fraud and Financial Crime Update. Artificial intelligence is a phenomenal tool that can be used by both banks and, unfortunately, criminals. Criminals are the fastest adopters of technology. We've already seen them take advantage of artificial intelligence to increase the sophistication of their attacks and target consumers, even when there is strong authentication in place, by focusing on tricking the consumers, essentially. Banks have an opportunity to leverage the same technology to take advantage of a lot of data that's available through digital channels. Unfortunately, a lot of this data needs to be used very quickly because real-time payments are forcing financial institutions to make decisions in flight, in milliseconds, and that capability is now available through artificial intelligence and machine learning, and the models can consume the large volume of data that comes from digital channels to put financial institutions in a position to best identify what is good, normal customer behavior, what seems irrational or unlike the customer and is potentially a scam, and what is obviously not the customer and is a criminal trying to take advantage of their account. Real-time rails has been deployed in the UK almost a decade ago, and Australia and the US most recently, but they have some of the same lessons. I think the first lesson is the criminals migrate to new technology deployments. They target new implementations, expecting there to be some sorts of weaknesses. And so the lesson is to be prepared at launch. Make sure you have the capabilities ready before the rail is enacted. A second thing that we've learned from global deployments of real-time technologies is there's always going to be one or two weak links. Those weak links could be institutions that aren't prepared and they will be disproportionately targeted, but those weak links could also be channels that are unprotected. If you have stronger protection on your digital channels than you do in your call center, criminals will just migrate to the call center and start attacking that channel. Check fraud is a great example that has been increasing significantly since the pandemic. Criminals have identified a weak link, the mail couriers, the delivery of mail to post boxes, and although this is a primitive or old channel, it is still exposed to losses. And so criminals are now stealing checks out of mailboxes and processing centers. They're even paying insiders that work in these facilities to provide them with checks because they can very easily manipulate those checks and steal funds from financial institutions. And that's a great example of the old threats continue to be new threats. As you shore up your defenses in one area, traditional means like checks and or credit cards could once again be a major source of attack. And so again, it's important to think about your controls across all of the channels that customers and criminals operate. Stay tuned and watch for more content on cloud-based modern architecture for its inherent benefits of scale, flexibility, and adaptability. Thanks for watching. This has been Jas Anand with Feedzai.